Hey guys, it's Nana, and today I've got a big book haul for you. Book haul, book haul, book haul, book haul. These are the books that I've accumulated over the past few months. Probably, I think we're starting from July, so many books! I can't even hold them all up for a thumbnail shot. Grab your cup of coffee, grab your mug of tea, because this is gonna be a long one. Since I have so many books to get through today, I'm gonna kind of zip through them, but a lot of them are classics, so I feel like you'll already be familiar with them. And some of them are books that I've already talked about, I just haven't shown in a haul yet, so yeah. Let's go. So going all the way back to July, the first book I bought was To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, and I reread this one because of the next book, which is Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee, which came out this year, as I'm sure you're all aware. So I wanted to reread To Kill a Mockingbird before Go Set a Watchman came out. I read this one a couple months ago and I was kind of like, meh, but To Kill a Mockingbird is great, and I'm so glad I read this. So some of these books are still in the original packaging because I'm nerdy like that and I wanted to preserve it. I bought this next book when I was in Portland, Oregon with my family for all of like 4 hours. We didn't quite plan our trip very well, but I still really wanted to get to Portland, and I had to go to Powell's. Yes, I still have it in the original bag. Ba-bam! Powell's is so cool. I wish I had had more time to explore there, but I had enough time to buy a book, so successful trip if you ask me. I picked up Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda and Ngozi Adichie. I still have only read Americana and We Should All Be Feminists, and I keep saying I want to read more of her work, and I do. I just haven't gotten to it yet. So I picked this up at Powell's because I knew I wanted to read it and own it. It's set during the Nigerian Civil War, and there are 3 different characters whose lives kind of intertwine. So this should be interesting because my parents are Nigerian and they grew up during that time. So I feel like after I read this, I'll want to talk to them and find out more about that time period in Nigeria. So the next bunch in the pile I bought on a random weekday. I walked into the Strand and was browsing their half-price book section. So down in the basement, if you've been there, there's a section of new books, as in just released books that are half off. So new hardcovers for half the price, yeah. So anyway, I was browsing down there and I was like, oh, I really want that book, I really want that book. So then I bought 3 books. The first one I've already done a whole video on, so I'll link that down below, and it's A Window Opens by Elisabeth Egan. This is about a woman who is struggling to find the right work-life balance and trying to figure out what she really wants in life and what's really important to her. I thought this was really charming, and check out my review if you want to hear me talk more about it. Then I also picked up The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater because Max told me to. This is set in a rural town in Virginia and involves a girl named Blue who comes from a family of clairvoyants, but she is not clairvoyant herself. And there's also the boys that she calls the Raven Boys, who are rich and privileged and go to a private school in the town. It's got a little romance, a little adventure, a little magic, and I like this one. And I talked about it in my last wrap-up, so I will leave that link down below too. Next up is a book that has definitely been making the rounds on BookTube, and that is The Fair Fight by Anna Freeman. This is about a girl who doesn't have the best childhood. She grows up in a brothel and she suffers from abuse, but eventually she somehow gets out and becomes a female boxer. I don't know, this sounded really intriguing and interesting, and I've heard really good things about it, so I'm looking forward to this one. So the next 2 books I picked up at Brooklyn Book Festival just last month. It was my first time going, and it's an event that's held annually in Brooklyn. It was really fun. There were tents where publishers had booths, and also bookstores had booths where they were selling books. And there were panels and discussions. This time around I really only checked out the booths and listened in on some of the panels that were happening outside, but next time I'd really like to plan it out and attend some specific panels because some of them sounded really good. Anyway, I picked up 2 books while I was there, and the first one is Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshops by Jen Campbell. I'm so excited to read this. I mean, I love Jen's videos, and I've just heard that this is really funny and charming, and as a book lover, I'm sure I'm gonna love it. So, yay! It's so cute. I picked up my first book from Melville House, and that is The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. And I just love the editions that they publish. They're so clean and classic and come in beautiful colors. So I picked this one up because it sounded interesting. So a strange man arrives at an inn one day and he's covered in bandages. He says that he's been in a chemical accident, but really he's a scientist who's experimenting on himself, and he's trying to make himself invisible. Slowly, as his experiment continues, he starts to lose his grip on reality, and this just sounds so good. It's science fiction, it also sounds creepy, and it might be a good one to read in October. I might need to pick this up quite soon. The next book was sent to me by a publisher, Little Brown and Company, and it is Early One Morning by Virginia Bailey. This begins in Italy during World War II. The main character, Chiara, is fleeing Rome for her safety. As she's fleeing, she sees another woman being carted away in a truck, and she has a young son with her. In a split-second decision, she decides to claim that son as her own and take him to safety with her. So it's about the repercussions of that decision and how it affects her life. This just sounded really good, and it's been a while since I read a book set in World War II. Then I have a more non-traditional book that was sent to me by Maggie. It's called Hand Lettering for Everyone, a creative workbook by Cristina Vanko, and look at how gorgeous it is. So basically it's a workbook for you to learn hand lettering. It has different exercises and information to get you started and to help you learn how to hand letter. I'm really excited about this one because I've always wanted to learn hand lettering and how to make my writing more beautiful. And I've thought about taking a class, but this seems like a good way to get started, so I'll definitely be testing this out. I'm so excited about this next book because it just sounds so good, and that's The Clasp by Sloane Crosley. This is published by the company where I used to work, FSG, and I met up with my friend the other day for dinner, and I was like, any chance you could snag me a copy of this book? And she did. And I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's about 3 college friends who've kind of lost touch over the years, but they reunite at the wedding of another college friend. And somehow they end up on this quest for a long-lost necklace. I've just heard that Sloane Crosley's writing is really clever and sharp, so I'm really excited for this one, and I might even be reading it by the time this video goes up. Also, fun little fact about this book, it comes in 3 different colors. So I believe there's blue, pink, and yellow. My friend actually brought 2 of the colors for me to choose, but of course I was gonna go with the blue one because blue's my favorite color. Alright guys. Do we need an intermission? Do we need time for you to like get up, go get a snack, come back? Because we've still got about 9 books to go. And this is the classics portion of the book haul. I think I talked in a previous video about how I really wanted to collect beautiful editions of classics because they're books I know I want to keep for a long time and hold on to and maybe pass down one day. Was thinking about what I wanted to read, and I was on Amazon, and next thing you know I'd ordered 2 books, 2-day shipping, and they arrived. So let's do those 2 first. First up, we've got the beautiful vintage classics edition of Pride and Prejudice. I think I first saw these on Sana's channel and I was just like, ah, they're so pretty. And then I saw the hardback versions of them in Anthropology one day and I was like, oh my god, they're in the US? But I actually ended up going for the paperback version because I prefer it. And it's just so pretty. Look at how pretty it is. And it's got a quote on the back. So Pride and Prejudice is on my list and I want to reread it, and that's gonna happen, I don't know when. Now I have this beautiful edition, and I wouldn't be surprised if I get a few more of these editions of Austen's work because I love them. Then we've got this chunky book which I think I'm gonna love. The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. So excited! Love this modern classics edition, and the text is not too tiny, which I think is good. I mean, it's small. It's small, but it could be a lot smaller. This is another one that I want to get to really soon, and I'm thinking I might pick up the Clasp next, and then maybe this one. I was browsing the book depository, and I was like, you know what? I'm going for it. Going for it, because I've wanted these books for ages. So I got 7 Penguin English Library editions, and I kept them in the box because I've already told you I'm a weirdo like that. So this is kind of an unboxing. After I finish this, I'm going to rearrange my shelves. 1, because I've been waiting to put all these books away, and 2, because these Penguin English Library editions have to be on a shelf all together so I can see their beautiful spines in a row. Okay, I'm getting carried away. But anyway, let's open up this box. Since these are classics, I figure you pretty much already know the stories, so I'm more gonna just show them to you and tell you why I picked them up. So first up is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. As I talked about in my recent Top 10 Classics video, this is on my list. I just really wanted to reread this, and I wanted to do it in this beautiful edition, so here it is. Then we have Murders in the Rue Morgue and Other Tales by Edgar Allan Poe. And I think Poe is wonderful. Like many people in high school, I had to read a lot of his work for school, and I just really got into it, and I thought it was so interesting and creepy, and the writing is beautiful. I haven't read anything of his since school, so I'm really excited to reread some of these stories, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, no, I might have read all of these before, but yes, I will be rereading the stories, and I'm sure rediscovering how much I enjoyed them the first time around. I also got Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, and I picked this up because Katie was talking about it in a semi-recent video, and it sounded really interesting. And also the movie version came out a few months ago, I think. I've never read anything by Thomas Hardy before, so I'm excited to check out a new-to-me author. And I definitely want to read the book and watch the movie and see how they compare. Next up is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. In my recent classics check-in, I said, should I read Count of Monte Cristo first? Should I read Great Expectations first? A lot of people said the Count of Monte Cristo, but several people also said Great Expectations. So I was like, you know what guys, I really do want to read them both. I'm hoping I might get to this one before the end of the year, but we shall see. Then I picked up Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I really wanted to reread this last year in October as a spooky, creepy read, but I didn't get around to it. So it's been a full year, it's October again, and I want to try and pick this up this month. I also bought The House of Mirth by Edith Wharton. This is set in the early 1900s in New York City, so I'm excited to read about New York in a different period of time. And it's about wealthy families, and I believe the author kind of has this scathing takedown of the rich and wealthy, so that sounds good. Sign me up. And another one that I'm so excited about, and that's North and South by Elisabeth Gaskell. So last year, 2 years ago, I finally watched the BBC miniseries of North and South, and I freaking loved it. My friend had been telling me to watch it for like years and years. She'd recommended it to me several years ago, and it took me a couple years to actually watch it, but I started it and I was immediately engrossed, and it was just so good. And when I watched the 4th episode, I was like, no, it's over? I thought it was longer. I didn't realize it was a mini-series. I definitely thought it was more of a like 8 to 10 episode series, so I was so sad when it was over. But anyway, I'm excited to relive the story via the book and see how it compares. I was telling Sabrina from Unmanaged Mischief that I hope this will be a jumping point for me and make me want to pick up more of Gaskell's work. Thank you so much for watching this ginormous book haul. I was really excited to show off all the books to you. Holly from Library at the Edge of the World made a video about book hauls recently and why we make them, and I was writing in the comments to her that I really enjoy making and watching book hauls. For me, it's like when you go shopping and you just bought something fabulous and you come home and you model it for your friends. That's how it is with my books. I'm so excited about these books, and I just want to show them to you and share them with you because I know you'll be excited about them too. And it's also interesting to think about what made me pick up a certain book and why I want to read it, so yeah. That's why I like doing book hauls. Let me know if you've read any of the books I talked about in this video, or if you want to read any of them, and tell me what you've bought recently. What's the last book you picked up that you're like, I'm so excited to read this? If you want to talk to me elsewhere, you can find me on Goodreads, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. I'll leave all of my links and information below, as well as links to all of the books I talked about. Speaking of links, do you prefer if it's a Goodreads link or an Amazon link? Like, what's most helpful for you when you're trying to check out a book and find out more information about it? Let me know. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Oh my god, guys. I just started talking and I was not recording, and I was like, ah! I could have gone on for ages not recording. That would have been so sad. So sad.